obviously, if our downtown is far, means there's obviously a lot of activity. But yeah, there's concerns about the parking and directors to revisit the issue. Staff referred it to our interdepartmental review team. The principal handling the issue would have been the city engineer. Thereby supervised institutional survey of the downtown southerly northerly site. Variation types of yes. Are regulated quality. 7. Soften the original version. Yep. They start these will be replaced upwards of 31 years. Stop. Uh, source of code enforcement. It continues to exist in the state. Yeah. It's there. And I think it's going to no. Oh.
Thank you for that staff report. Are there any initial questions for Mr. Mugen?
I have a question. So you said that the building is gonna get repainted. Is it gonna be the same color?
Yeah. So that, it's very similar. It's very similar.
Good evening, Commissioner Ed Reinhardt, the architect. I would like to thank Director Mugen for presenting this project again to you. And your question was about the color, and it's going to be repainted uh, uh, a light ivory color. So the color that it's got right now is a light color. It's not going to be a dark color. So the main body is a light color. It's almost got a ivory color to it. And it doesn't really show up very well on the color, but it's not green. But we do have green trim on the building too. So we have that.
I think I saw the color in one of the previous meetings. I hope it's as similar or as closest as it is now, just because,
It's yes.
yeah,
It's close. Yes.
okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Anyone else for Mr. Mugen? I have one about non-conforming uses. So according to the zoning code, it seems that this project has two serious items, that's the under parking and also the residential units where one unit is allowed per 3,000 square foot of commercial. So I'm reading the continuation permitted part of 17.84.010, and it says, where there is a conflict between two or more provisions of the code or city adopted ordinances or previously approved permits, the more restrictive requirements shall apply. Which would be more restrictive, the residential or the parking, in your opinion?
The residential or
The under parking.
this would be the most restrictive.
Yeah. Requirement.
So
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have. So we can now open the public hearing and go to public comment. Applicant and architect are invited to go first if you'd like.
Hello again, Ed Reinhardt, the architect for this project, and I would just say that we're actually looking forward to move this project forward. The owner and myself, we really are looking forward to working with the staff and everybody to pretty much restore this building. That's what we want to do. I know it has 4 apartments on it, on the upstairs right now. We would like to keep the 4 apartments on there. There's a couple of, we just can't take all the walls out from the inside. There's 2 walls that are bearing walls. That's holding up the roof. So that's kind of hard to take the walls down for that. But we have talked about parking issues. Your city engineer has looked at the whole downtown area and said it can support this market and the 4 apartments above. My owner actually intends to have the housing available for his workers as the first come, first serve. So, or the first people that would be living in the space. I think we've talked about that. I don't know if we can codify that in any way, but that's what his intent is. And if you have any questions of me, feel free to ask.
We kept you here pretty long last time, so Mr. Arquitas, do you have any questions for the architect or the
No. It's I'm sorry. It's just that I'm concerned about parking. That's about it. But that's all over this city nowadays. So everybody's got 3 or 4 cars, so it's hard to, phase that, phase that parking because there's got to be a way for more cars. You say you got 8 parking plus 1 handicap? Is that what it is?
I believe it's 7 parking spaces.
Well, I've seen it verbally on the screen. It said 8 plus 1 handicap.
I have 8 altogether, 7 plus 1
Okay.
accessible parking.
Now this is all in that alleyway, correct?
Yes, in the lot or in the back of the lot adjacent to the alleyway. And then, of course, you have all the street parking available,
All right.
which we will be adding 1, 2, 3 extra spaces onto the street when we're taking out an unused driveway in the sidewalk. So we get a new sidewalk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, excuse me, so you're saying that you're gonna remove
the driveway and put additional parking spaces in there, is that correct?
Yes, there's a driveway that actually
Right.
goes on
Right.
to just a sidewalk. And we're gonna remove that, and that's gonna be covered with diagonal parking on Oak Street.
Okay, I have a question for, I'm sorry, can I go on? I have a question for Mr. Mugen. Now, on a public street, can you designate parking for like for the apartments that are gonna be upstairs? Can you designate and say, this is for the apartments? Can you actually do that? Okay. How are you gonna check if the people that are parked there are actually residents?
That way, but there would be just like
Well, I know that you can put in a handicap parking and no one else can park that except handicap or you have a plate. But the other ones, I don't see if it's a public street, I don't see how you can keep others from parking in there.
And
And if they do, I mean, and I'm sorry, but then if you do have a designated area for the residents of the apartments, who's gonna enforce it?
Right, no, I misheard, I didn't hear that. Right. You're right, public street, I didn't hear that. Or your question, Commissioner. Correct, but the tenant parking will be reserved in the back. It's all that you provided for.
That's correct, yes. The 8 parking spaces in the back lot, those will be reserved for the tenants. Not the street parking is for everybody.
Okay, so you're making reference to the back lot. Okay. Is that where the post office is at? Right in back of the post office? Aren't those designated for the post office employees?
No, that's street parking. The alley,
Right,
and then we have our parking. So it's one lot, but the back half of the lot is where we have our parking, and we get into that from the alley. So you can park in our back half of the lot. There's 8 parking spaces, and those can be dedicated for the tenants.
okay.
Though that's the only way. We're not gonna dedicate street
So-
parking.
Okay, so you're not gonna have any adjacent parking right in back of the building, is that correct? On the alleyway, let's say that. You're not.
I am.
Oh, you're talking about right behind the parking,
No, I'm talking right behind the building, in the alleyway.
Is there a picture of the back
If you can
of the
bring the
building
site.
that we can?
Miss-
That's the tenant.
I'm sorry?
It's gonna be the tenant parking.
No, he's talking about the lot that's in back of the post office. That's what he's making reference to.
No.
No.
No, okay, well, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Today,
You can see, it's right, this
This
is the
is-
back, what I consider the back. And there's the parts that's all in the back.
okay,
Beyond that is the post office.
okay. Well, just so happens that today, while I was out on my training ride coming back, there was an 18-wheeler parked in that alley. So how, if people are parking back there, how are they gonna park with that 18-wheeler delivery? He was making a delivery to that meat market. I stopped and I talked to the individual. I even took pictures of it. They're on my phone.
Right.
So, I mean, it comes back to, if you expect people to park there, then these 18-wheelers that are already making deliveries, where are they gonna go? I mean, I find it ironic, and maybe I'm going a little far on this, but I find it ironic that some of these merchants are complaining about the parking are now in violation of that, if you will.
Wow. And my owner has said he's going to have early deliveries in
I understand this.
small box
I don't
van.
have an issue with that. at
So
all.
it's like, let's say, so if I was parked in the parking spot and there was an 18-wheeler making deliveries and I needed to get out, I would tell the truck, you have to move your truck, back it up so I can back out.
No, I understand.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I would do the
if he
same
wants
thing.
if he wants to park, in the middle of the alley, that's on the 18-wheeler, the owner of the business. He can, he can pull it off to the side. The alley's wide enough for two-way traffic to go through, or traffic.
No, it's not.
Well, not two-way
No,
traffic.
That was an 18-wheeler,
If
unless
he-
you have a
Then-
smart car.
Then he would have to, then I would have to ask him to move if I needed to get out exactly right away.
Yeah.
But it's happening right now.
No, I understand. Like I said, I saw it.
Yeah.
And then, yesterday, as I was going on my training ride at 11:20, right across the street in front of the El Rey Market, there was a truck making a delivery there. He was parked on Oak Street, not diagonally, parallel to the sidewalk. He was taking up like 3 or 4 parking spaces. And these are the same people that are complaining about parking. It's kind of ironic that this individual who printed this out is that truck that I'm making reference to was delivering to his business.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Good.
I'm done.
I have a question. I drove back there today too, and it's just in such terrible condition. The back parking lot, I see your parking spaces, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at your architectural drawing, and these are, I mean, can you find a tinier font? Because I can't,
They're actually, so you're looking at a reduced size.
yeah,
The real size is 24 by 36-inch piece of paper.
those once
You
in a
can live
while,
with that.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
But in the back of the building, okay, I see your power boxes and then there's like concrete doors on the bottom level. What are those? Is that eventually gonna be where are you gonna be loading your merchandise? Through the front door or from the back? If I can show you my picture here.
right. So we can be loading our we can be loading our product from the side door. If you're looking at the side door on Oak Street, do you see that little indention right in there?
Yes,
Where the driveway is at.
yes.
That is a door that will lead to the storage area of the store.
And what are these current concrete doors in the back of the building?
Oh, they used to, those doors back there, we're gonna take those doors out.
Okay,
Those doors are gone.
okay.
So do the tenants come in through the side?
Yeah, they come in off of Oak Street. If you look on the if you want to look at the elevations, if you have those, at where it says the east and left, you'll see 2 doors to the left of the drawing there. One of them on the right hand is the loading to get into the store. The other one is the way to get up to the stairs.
So you're gonna be loading the store from Oak.
Yeah,
And could you define, or maybe Mr. the owner could define early deliveries? And will you be using semi trucks? I remember at the last meeting you mentioned vans. But what time are your early deliveries?
Good afternoon, my name is Nasser Shaibi, named Johnny. We try to make the schedules like 9 o'clock, given like before we make the orders, we need to deliver early. If he come late, we're not gonna accept it. Before 9 o'clock, yes.
You utilize semi trucks for deliveries.
Yes,
utilize semi-trucks. No, you're gonna have box vans.
no, box vans, like small vans, yeah, the vans, yeah,
Because you have the big trucks coming to the road.
the other stores, yes. Okay.
I wanted to make a comment about the early deliveries, because I know that this was mentioned during the last meeting, and I just can't understand how we are giving these conditions to a new applicant to have deliveries at a very early time of the day. I think we can probably discuss this later, but everybody should do that then, because he's not the problem. He's willing to accommodate, right, for all these deliveries, and I appreciate that. But I think that, everybody should be having those deliveries at a very early time because they are the problem currently.
Well, excuse me, on deliveries like that, like say box trucks, if they have box trucks, that's fine because it makes it easier for it. But you take, for instance, Coca-Cola, they moved from Phoenix to San Jose. So now their trucks are taking off at a time where they're gonna be, I seen them this morning on the freeway. It's gonna be later than 9 o'clock for the Coca-Cola trucks to get in there because they come from a distance.
And I think that we need to make clear that from these photos, my interpretation is these business owners are showing us that these trucks are delivering on their property.
Today's photos, yeah.
Yes, that it's their property that these trucks are at, and that there's no room on your property to accommodate this type of truck, but you're indicating that you're not going to be using that. So, I mean, I get the differentiation. So I just wanted to put that out there. Any other questions for you guys? Okay, so we can move on to public comment.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Rederer, on behalf of several of the merchants in the community. This is now the fourth time the Planning Commission has considered the item. I question whether this item is even properly and legally before the Planning Commission. I mean, the Planning Commission at the last hearing could have continued it to allow the full Planning Commission to consider the matter, but they didn't. Instead, a motion to approve the application failed based on a tie vote, which should have been treated as a final action of the Planning Commission, subject to an appeal to the City Council. So maybe perhaps your city attorney can provide some clarity on why the PC is even having a hearing on the application. I think the bottom line with this application is that the zoning code includes very strict off-street parking requirements for projects. And this project doesn't meet those requirements. The project's underparked by 11 spaces, which means the project will spill over onto the street and into other parking lots. It's irrelevant that there may be sufficient on-street parking to accommodate the project. If you look at the city code, that's not one of the criteria. It talks about special circumstances, but it's not whether there's adequate on-street parking to accommodate a project's off-street parking needs. That's not in your code. So the commission doesn't have any legal authority to waive the off-street parking requirements. What needs to happen in this case is that the applicant needs to redesign the project to accommodate the off-street parking requirements of the project. You can look at and what's interesting is if you look at the resolution that is attached to your staff report, there's specific findings about parking. And all it says is that the parking requirements are met only if the Planning Commission finds that being underparked 11 spaces is warranted due to the special circumstances of the buyer building. But there's nothing in here that explains what those special circumstances are, because your code doesn't say as long as there's sufficient on-street parking, that's a special circumstance that allows you to allow for a parking reduction. This application should be treated like all other applications that come before the city. I think you heard at that last meeting, I think I heard that there was an applicant who had to jump through a lot of hoops and hurdles to accommodate their off-street parking requirements. I think one of the speakers mentioned that they had to, lease and acquire another lot that had some off-street parking that could accommodate their off-street parking needs. So, while the commission may have a desire for this building to be rehabilitated and redeveloped, it should not disregard zoning requirements. The whole reason you have the zoning requirements is to allow for orderly development. So making haphazard decisions or applying inconsistent standards to similar projects, that sort of defeats the whole purpose of zoning requirements, including off-street parking. So as we've requested at several past meetings, we would respectfully request that the commission deny the application and encourage the applicant to go back and come up with a project that conforms with the zoning requirements. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Myra and this is the owner of La Barata here in Greenville. And he just wanted to say his, I don't know if he says it in Spanish or I say it in English.
Whatever you want to do. Whatever's most comfortable.
Para que entiendan todos en igual. Lo tengo escrito.
Okay, I'm gonna read what he wrote. I am the owner of Carniceria La Barata. At a certain time, some years back, I was the owner of 201 El Camino Real, the same place where the person now wants to open his business. We always had people complaining, especially from the post office, people that were handicapped, use the box on the side to put their letters in. And they would always go and complain that the trucks were blocking the entrance because it's a one-way alley. And through the post office on the side, they could only go in through one way to put their letters in. We would always be getting complaints about parking. All the businesses around there, it's always saturated with traffic because there's a hairstylist, there's an eye doctor, and then there was us. Early in the morning, there would always be complaining about traffic because of the parking and all the trucks were delivery. We were getting a lot of complaints. Me as personally being there before the previous owner, I always had issues with the trucks and the parking. And he also wants to say that for deliveries to get delivered early in the morning, that's impossible. They never have a certain time to deliver because they can tell you they're gonna deliver at 5 and they're never there at 5. And that has happened to us too, because we tried to get deliveries early and they never get there early because of traffic on their way for the semis and stuff like that. So his concern is about the traffic and all the problems that were going on with the complaints.
No sé si están contando lo del Halder Farm. Pide un corral donde atrás nos pide, tenemos que hacerlo, pero nos piden de 4 a 6 parqueaderos para ponerlo de la basura.
Oh, and he says that in the back of the building that he doesn't know if they're putting in the paperwork that the health department required a special 4 to 6 parking space for their garbage trucks.
Eso se usa
Their
de los
cans or-
parqueaderos, ya.
They have to use that from the parking in the back of the building. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jaspinder and I'm from Ellery Market. My concern is like parking. As I was just thinking, where those dumpsters gonna go? The truck size dumpsters for the cardboards and garbage and recycle? That is my concern. That is the. Thank you.
That's your question. I see the trash is on the left corner of the parking lot facing the alley. That's the trash enclosure. Any other public comments?
Buenas tardes, mi
Buenas
nombre es
tardes.
María, soy de la tienda Variedades. Y vengo también pues de lo que se está pasando de los parqueaderos. Y pues toda la área no estamos de acuerdo en lo que está sucediendo. Y pues ahorita estamos contentos porque pues ahorita no ha vivido gente ahí en el hotel, en el departamento. Y cuando vivía gente ahí, siempre nos quebraban los vidrios, nos tiraban basura, cosas así. Uno sabe que son los jóvenes, no los adultos. Y ahorita que no hay nadie, estamos muy contentos, muy a gusto, todo está controlado y pues de los parqueaderos, pues igual estamos batallando por lo mismo, las tiendas que están, pero sabemos que van y vienen. La gente sale y entra, pero estamos contentos como quiera ahorita, como estamos. Y pues, no
Un
sé,
momento.
este,
Are you going to do the English?
no.
Is there any English? Oh, I got basura. Can we do?
This is Maria from the variety store, Variedades, and she just wants to express her concerns about the project at hand. They've had a good experience since the unit's been vacant. They had issues with broken windows and the sort with the young kids. So she's found that it's been more peaceful that since the building's been empty. And of course, she's concerned about the parking and the overflow that results because of the parking issues. And she just wanted to share that with the planning commission.
Más?
Es todo nada más que queremos. Es todo, nada más venía representándome de la tienda Variedades, que soy yo la dueña de ahí.
¿Y qué es la tienda que tiene usted?
Variedades
No, it's a variety store.
Okay.
es de ropa, a un lado de la barata. Muchas gracias.
That is all. And to clarify, it's the store next to La Barata clothing store.
Next to us. Muchas gracias. Any more public comment?
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Petra Martinez. I'm from the Martinez Tortilla here on El Camino Real. And I'm here to express my concerns of the proposed development of another store, another market in our community. While I understand the value of economic growth and convenience, I believe that this project is unnecessary and potentially detrimental for several key reasons. First, there is no clear evidence of unmet grocery demand in that little area. Currently, stores are not overburdened and there are not significant food deserts in that area that justify the need for another full-scale grocery. Our area is already well served by multiple grocery stores that meet the diverse needs of residents. And the addition of another store would oversaturate the market, creating unhealthy competition that could ultimately harm small, locally owned businesses. A new store would increase vehicle traffic, as we know, in an already congested area, leading to noise, pollution, and a strain on local infrastructure. This is especially concerning for our pedestrians and bicycle riders, as it may impact adequate pedestrian and bike access. We have many children and families that use El Camino Real to get to and from school. And then another critical issue is the logistical challenges posed by delivery trucks, of course. As it stands, many delivery trucks in the area are unable to park close to the store where they're delivering because of the lack of designated parking spaces. And I see them parking in front of my store and they take up 4 spaces and then that's just no parking for our customers. They park parallel like you saw in some of the pictures and it just takes up a lot of space. And I know that it's possible to go tell the truck driver, please move your truck. But sometimes you can't find them because they go and they take their pallets and they're, who knows where they are. And then when they deliver, they usually put all the products, so it takes them a little bit of time. And that's going to be a problem for a while. So a new grocery store will exacerbate existing parking shortages, making it even harder for customers to access the stores in that area. And additionally, many of the grocery stores in the vicinity around the new project sell alcoholic beverages. And there are concerns about the potential social impact of additional outlets for alcohol if they are introduced. And it's not uncommon to see people congregating and drinking in the nearby alleyways, which already create safety issues and a general sense of discomfort in those areas. Adding another location where alcohol might be sold, I mean, I don't know if they're going to sell it, but it's a store, so it would exacerbate these behaviors and contribute to an increase in public disturbances. And I'm not sure if this, like I said, I'm not sure if they're going to sell, but if they are, it's a big concern because you have so many in that little area that already sell beer. And then introducing a larger grocery store could divert customers from smaller grocers, specialty markets that have long served our community. Was that my time?
That's your time. But if you want to wrap up,
Really
I
quick.
think we're okay
Yeah,
with that.
just, well, in conclusion, while development in this area can bring benefits, I just think that you might want to look at other options. And I totally love the idea of having more residences, even though I see that that causes problems, but you know, residents are needed. And anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other public comments? In chambers? Okay, seeing none, I see a hand raised, Manuel Barone. Mr. Barone?
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good afternoon. So I'm representing La Esperanza Market, also on El Camino. And for me, it's more about fairness because our projects next door were also the parking was a problem, and we were able to fix that problem by creating more space on our own property that we were probably going to use for more space for our business, but we needed to meet the parking requirements, so we had to get more space off of our own property to create more parking. And it wouldn't be really fair if you guys just hand them more parking and so you're basically taking from others to give to them. So that's where I'm coming from. Also, just because it's ironic that we're addressing our issues about the parking and sometimes the trucks park in places that that we're complaining about. Just because that's ironic, it doesn't mean you want to add to a problem already there. So you would just basically be adding to a problem that's already there. And it kind of seems like you guys feel bad for this guy, like you guys want to help him out, but I think that you guys shouldn't really go on emotion. This should be more about due diligence. Like the parking just isn't there. It's he should have thought about a business plan for this building. If he couldn't meet the parking, how is he gonna just squeeze in there and force everybody else to just adjust? And he's gonna take parking, and every parking spot is worth a lot of money, for every little business. For every one spot that's missing, somebody else is losing out on money. So this guy's just coming in here and just pushing everybody to the side because you guys feel bad for him. So that's really kind of not fair. And also, I don't appreciate his dishonesty about AM deliveries because that's not going to happen. I think he's just over promising right now just to get his permit that he wants. But I don't think that's fair. He's just really just trying to be dishonest about that. And I really don't appreciate that because you know what? Some of us business owners, we're really trying to do things like the honest way to move our projects. And for him to just come in here and say these things, it's really kind of dishonest. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another hand raised, Samsung SM 592. Good evening, Samsung, you're on.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Jesse and I'm representing El Rey Market. I just want to get straight to the point is that we do not trust this gentleman on the deliveries. The companies like Coca-Cola, Donergy, and Coors, Modelo, they are multi-billion dollars companies. When we try to dictate them, when we try to tell them, okay, we need these deliveries on this time of the day, they just tell you flatly, no, either you take it or you can get your stuff for somewhere else. And that's totally a lie that he's going to be arranging those delivery early in the morning if he decide to get a beer or alcohol at his place. And the second thing is, I know he's talking about he'll be bringing stuff in his private van, I don't know, box van. I got a question to him is where is his distribution center is at? Because I know that there's no way he can move those shipments, especially perishable shipments like meat, produce, in middle of an afternoon at 100 degrees outside. How is he going to maintain the temperature inside the box and delivering the stuff all the way from his distribution center to Greenfield? That's not possible at all. And I want to also answer the concern one of the commissioners raised that he saw the truck being parked on Oak Avenue while making deliveries in El Rey Market. That situation only happens when we have overflow of deliveries. We always tell our delivery people, hey, make sure you park inside our premises. But there are many times that like a bunch of trucks comes all together. That happens usually on Friday, Monday, and Wednesdays. On Thursday, sorry, on Wednesday, sorry. And when that happens, then all the small vehicles, like all the cargo vans, the small box trucks, they have no option to just to park on the on the public parking, public parking spots. But we never allow the big trucks to park on the public street. And lastly, there's no way you can move all those pallets. Like for instance, Pitco comes and they brings us at least 6 to 7 big pallets of the merchandise. How is he going to fit all these pallets inside his box truck? And you guys are more than welcome to come at my store, especially on Friday, Monday, and Wednesday. I can show you around how much stuff are we getting, and there's no way this guy will be able to fit all this merchandise in a box truck. And I don't even think he got a reefer unit, you know. So is he planning to sell rotten meat and rotten produce to the community? And I also want to put one more point, but it just slipped out of my mind. But thank you for giving me a time, commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? I'd like to give an opportunity to reply to some of the concerns. First off, whether this meeting is legal. Our staff report indicated that our attorney was consulted. So would you like to address that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The city attorney has been consulted and
You can have the attorney address it.
Oh, that you are here. I'm sorry. I'm used to Jennifer.
So considered as no action. So the project was neither approved nor denied. So that's why this is starting over. You can go make a motion today to approve it. If that doesn't pass, you can then make an alternative motion to deny. And then come up with a result today. But because last time we moved to 2, there was not.
Okay, thank you. And I don't, as far as this delivery and trucks, and there's a lot of assumptions being thrown around, is there a way to make a condition of approval or a delivery schedule so that there's not these accusations of being dishonest? And is there any way to yeah.
it's conditioned and enforce it with whatever tools that we have. The council can make it an infraction or misdemeanor. Anyway. Permanently. First the answer is yes, but they provided tools. They put it. We know it's more. You heard from me.
Okay. So I guess with no further public comments, we can close the public hearing and move to Planning Commission discussion and decision. Who would like to start? Mr. Mendoza.
I guess if we I wrote a few things down and Mr. Mugen wanted a clear answer on how or why we're making a or thinking the way we're thinking, right? Somewhere along the lines, yeah.
Yes, sir, Commissioner, as an example. Attorney you heard tonight the attorney say, well, there's no authority for do this regarding parking. Well, in your staff report, staff inserted exactly what the zoning code asks of the planning commission. States that you find this as a special circumstance, and that means whatever it means to you warrants the reduction. You're allowing the project, if you approve it, to be 11 parking spaces, sure. And jury to if you discuss it among yourselves and schedule. Right up.
As far as the whole rehab of the building, as far as the residential part of the building, I 100% agree. It should be rehabbed. It is, you go there and it's in bad shape. As far as that goes, I 100% agree that that's the way it should be rehabbed. What I don't agree with is, and I said this is my third time saying this, I think that, your lack of due diligence as far as the owner goes, with what the town needs. And that's what to me is bothersome, is you didn't take any input from residents. You didn't take any you didn't sorry, I'm trying to say a lot of things at once and I can't. You didn't go out and figure out what we needed, and we have plenty of markets and that's where I think that we don't need, and that's why anyway, and as far as delivery goes and honesty, the delivery stuff, we all know you can't control it. I mean, it's just impossible for you to control. You can't do that. I appreciate Mr. Architect coaching you up as far as letting you know, hey, you're going to do this and that, but I think if you come out and be a little more honest with us, the community, then it'd be taken differently. That's all I got for now.
Thank you.
Okay, so as far as honesty goes, I don't think he's being dishonest with us. I think he's speculating, but I don't think he's being dishonest with us. I really don't. As far as putting in another store, I feel it's his building. He can do whatever he wants with it. And who are we to dictate, tell him you can't put a grocery store in there? It's his store. The parking issues. I find it ironic that the person who printed these photos, he just admitted minutes ago, yeah, that there was a truck parked alongside Oak that shouldn't have been there, that was taking up like 4 spaces. It wasn't an 18-wheeler, but nevertheless, I believe it was a big Bimbo bread truck. I saw that yesterday morning, and he addressed that. He said on Mondays and Fridays are usually when he gets his bigger deliveries. Okay, but nevertheless, that truck was out there by his own admission. Then this afternoon, coming back from my ride, about 1:20, there's that big 18-wheeler blocking up that alley between the post office and the applicant's store. These photos here of stores getting deliveries, well, it's great for them because they have the acreage to accommodate them. Unfortunately, he doesn't. I believe that, is there an ulterior motive to keep him out of town? I don't know, that's not for me to decide. But I believe that competition is a good thing for consumers. that store's been there for years, where these applicants, these other merchants complaining where that other store was there. When there was other individuals who were opening that store, were they complaining then about parking? Or is it just recently they decided, well, you know, parking's an issue? Well, parking's an issue no matter where. We've talked about this time and time again. Not only with, on downtown, but in our neighborhoods. And, you know, perhaps, the applicant is, well, he had spoken previously about maybe making deliveries from his other stores down here. Perhaps that would work. And then giving him a time frame, you can only make deliveries here. That should apply to everyone. If you're gonna tell this guy, I'm sorry, this applicant here, you can only make deliveries from this time to that time, that should apply to everyone. You know, I've never have issues with codes, laws, anything like that. My issue is always the way they're applied. They should be applied evenly to everyone concerned. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. Commissioner Zavala?
They're gonna go with twice. So, whether we want to market or not, we can't decide what the owner wants, you know, to bring to Greenfield. We could have a steakhouse, which I would really enjoy, but that's not what the applicant wants. And if we get a steakhouse, it's going to be the same issue. We're going to have the same problem. So whether we get a steakhouse, a clothing store, a market, whatever we get, the issue is there. And it's not the applicant's fault. I think that us as a city staff, we should try to fix the problem. We're not gonna fix it tomorrow, but we have to have these conversations because it's obvious it's an issue. I can't go to the eye doctor without struggling to find a parking space. I get it. I have to circle around 2-3 times to find a parking space to go to the eye doctor. But that doesn't mean we get to say you can't have your pre-kit there because I can't find parking to go to the eye doctor. So I heard comments that they were happy with the vacant building there. I'm not happy. Doesn't look nice. We have an applicant that is willing to accommodate all the other businesses. I think I appreciate that. I will say that I wish those windows were fixed by now, because the applicant has owned this business for a while now. Do I wish it was fixed by now? Yeah, because I don't like driving around there and seeing the building with broken windows. But anyway, I just think that this is a bigger problem, and the applicant is not the problem right now. And I think we should stop pointing fingers and us as a city do better going forward and have those conversations with code enforcement, PD, staff, whoever it is, but we do have to have that conversation. That way business owners, La Barata, Martinez, everybody on there can, have customers come to their business. And I think we just need to work together. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
My concern is I felt embarrassed when I think, the gentleman on the screen that called in, he made a comment, oh, you guys just want to favor the owner. That's not true. That's not true. Let me say so. Years ago, when Byers was open, El Rey was there. All these small shops were there on El Camino, and everybody got along good. Now that Byers shut down years ago, people are not, we got letters from the individuals stating they didn't want them to go in. Well, you know, it's, say if, one of your establishments wanted, was out and you wanted to sell, but no one will buy it because of that, how would I say? That situation was because I can't get business in here. Why should I do that? And that's, I don't disagree with that. The thing is, and the other thing is, we complained for over an hour about parking. I'd like to know if you guys as an individuals have problem parking near your house. I got 2 cars, one in the garage, one outside, and I can't park in the street. I got too many people, got cars. Then you got, these apartments and stuff, and everybody's got 2 or 3 cars, and they're spread all over, this area over here. So parking, I understand parking is a problem in percent, but it's not just there near Buyers Market. It's all over Greenfield. I don't care where you're at, it's all over Greenfield. So we have to deal with parking because people are just getting more and more cars. You know, why you got 5 or 6 cars at your house? I got a neighbor down the street, he's got 7 cars. So he takes up all the street. So I wouldn't blame the owner about complaining about people talking about parking and stuff like that. If he comes up with an adequate part of parking, then go for it. That's why I look at it. You know, we got to, you know, I know every one of you people, including myself and the rest of the commission are saying, you know, are complaining about parking. We always get people complaining about parking. So we got to live with it. So let's just live with it and get along with everybody. I don't think any of the El Rey or the other ones are going to go out of business because he's coming in to open his business. It was open years ago and no one complained. But I got all these letters saying that they didn't want him in there. Now that's unfair. That's really unfair. Because it's not going to hurt your business. It didn't hurt it before. Why would it hurt it now? So I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I want to explain my vote from the last meeting. I voted no. You know, you read this, coming to these meetings and getting a staff report packet that's this thick, it's not easy. There's a lot of technical things. There's a lot of zoning codes to interpret, and, you know, we're just regular Greenfielders here. But what swayed me at the last meeting was the public comments. I know what it's like to be on that side of the podium, and I know what it's like to feel ignored. And I want all of you, I appreciate everybody who has been coming, the applicant included, you know, your attorney, all of you guys. I want you to know that I hear you, and I appreciate your participation in this. And also with regard to some decisions that come before us, I mean, it's true. We have said no to an abandoned use and to, you know, the need for parking to follow the zone. So it feels hypocritical to do that for this project, you know, and it's not just the downtown, it's other projects that, you know, we've stuck to our guns. But as far as, I would like the applicant to make some concessions to make our job easier. I mean, I'm here to, this is teachable for all of us. There's things lacking in our downtown. The city's in the process of trying to revitalize downtown. If we had a downtown business association that all of you were participating in, there could have been a meeting, there could have been discussions about concerns then. I don't like accusations about somebody being a liar or not. I think that's unwarranted. We don't know that. And if there's a way to alleviate those concerns with conditions of approval, I'd like to know if they're amenable to that. And when I asked about the more restrictive requirement, and I agree, the residential is a problem. I think our code says 3,000 square feet, 1 unit. I think if you reduce that, that would alleviate at least some of the parking issues. Reduce it by 1. I know that, you could have 1 unit bigger than the other 2, but I think that would help my concern there. And as far as special circumstances, well, there's not a definitive special circumstances other than the Buyer building is a unique building. And the issue of fairness, I heard that from Mr. Barone, but we also owe fairness to our downtown. And that building it's terrible. It's depressing. It looks haunted. It's been in that state for years. And I think if we're going to revitalize downtown, you have the opportunity to do that. And as far as the residential upstairs, I'm concerned about the windows up there. And I'm wondering if you would consider installing shutters so that it's not a mishmash of curtains up there, just something that looks organized and, pleasing that's aesthetically, that looks nice. That would sway me a bit too. But I think that we all need to come to solutions. I mean, if we're gonna really revitalize downtown, we do need to work together. I think, semi trucks delivering products, that's the price of business. I work in Monterey. Downtown Alvarado has trucks parked all hours of the day. I mean, how else are we going to get our products? They have to bring them and unload them. That's just retail. That's how it works. If there can be a scheduled or, a better way of doing that, then let's look into that. Let's implement that. And I also hear Ms. Martinez about, I wrote it down, that there's no unmet need for more groceries. I know that. I mean, it seems like there's 4 or 5 stores in a 1 square mile radius, but we don't have a code that prevents that. There's nothing to enforce that at this point. The city is redoing their general plan. It can be addressed there for future things that come up, but as of today, we don't have that. We don't have that ground to stand on. So it's just tough. I hate being put in these positions where our codes say one thing, our applicants request us to do other things. And, I don't want to be inconsistent, but at the end of the day, the building is hideous and it should be changed and fixed. And I wonder too, I don't know if this is the proper time or we have an impending building moratorium. How does that affect this project? Will it affect this? I mean, what stage in the permit process are we?
The 30 days during the reading of the ordinance. The meeting in September, and by
How do you feel about reducing your residential units from 4 to 3? And how do you feel about installing shutters for windows, the residential windows? Please.
So, if I reduce the upstairs to anything, I would want to reduce it into 2.
Okay.
You know, I have to keep those 2 walls right there. So I would reduce it to 2 units, not 3, because it would just be a waste of space,
So it would be 2 1,500 square foot units.
whatever it worked out to.
Mhm.
And so it would still be the same square footage upstairs.
Right.
And so that's what we could do. And it's like, it could be put on one of the conditions or something, and we can revise the upstairs plan to show that.
And what about shutters?
Oh, yeah. So it's all getting new windows, and
Right.
they're all kind of gonna be tinted. So you won't be able to see in and out. They're not mirror windows or anything, but they're new modern windows. You're not gonna be able to see in.
Okay.
And that's the
I'm just worried about, you know,
Outward appearance.
the outward appearance, like
Right.
if you drive, some people have blankets up and, you know.
there
for
won't be
window-
blankets.
Okay,
The house,
well,
they're gonna.
There
be-
was before, sir.
Well, when it gets remodeled, there won't be blankets up there. There'll be window treatments.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right, so here we are again.
Like, can I say something?
Yep.
I take exception to what the person, one of the people said, I believe it was the owner of El Rey Market, that were feeling sorry for the applicant. I don't feel sorry for him. I'm just trying to do what's right for the community and what we're supposed to do up here.
It wasn't in rain. Oh, that's my bad. It was, La Esperanza.
Well, okay, whoever it was, and I apologize then to El Rey. But, I mean, we're not, I'm speaking for myself now. I don't feel sorry for the individual. I just like to see a business come in, regardless of whether it's him or anyone else, regardless of whether it's a grocery store, a clothing store, a shoe store, whatever, bicycle shop, okay. That's.
Okay. So, as far as these resolutions, we have a resolution approving and a resolution denying. The conditions of approval on the resolution approving require a development agreement. Is that word, what will be addressed in that development agreement?
You would review the during being approval. Essentially what we're talking about. We were going into detail. Rehabilitation.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the previous use is abandoned. So the entitlement to bring back, you know, exactly what it was, that's been abandoned, so. Okay, is anybody prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion here. I move that the planning commission of the city of Greenfield adopt resolution number 2025-03, approve design review approval of a mixed-use project including a market and 4 residential units at 201 El Camino Real.
I'd like to make an amendment to that motion and insert 2 units versus 4.
I second that the amendment motion.
Right there.
Is that the correct? That was a friendly amendment. My motion, which I shouldn't have made because So there's a motion on the table.
I second the second motion.
Okay, can we do a roll call vote?
Vice Chair Urquidez,
Aye.
and then Commissioner Zavala,
Yes.
Commissioner Gallardo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mendoza,
No.
and then Chair Garcia.
Yes. Okay, motion carries.
So it's approved then, right?
Yep. We'll move on to our next public hearing.
Congratulations.
I hope everything works out, everybody. Bye now. Consideration of a resolution approving a design review and temporary use permit for the installation of a 1,026 square foot single-family modular dwelling and 625 square foot carport on a 9,138 square foot vacant lot at 10th Street and Primavera Circle.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Imani Harian, and I'm a management analyst for the Community Development Department. Today, we have a resolution for a 1,026 square feet single-family modular dwelling, as well as a 625 square feet carport at 10th Street and Primavera Circle. A little bit about the project. The project is located on 10th Street on a vacant lot near Primavera Circle. Its land use designation is medium density residential. Zoning, it is multiple family residential. To the south, there is single families, homes abutting the vacant lot, and then to the north, there is a multifamily apartment complex. The applicant is Nicholas Butler, who is present this evening, and the owner is Michelle Sanchez. So the project is for a temporary use permit for storage and then a design review for the installation and construction of the single-family modular residence, which is a prefabricated modular unit, and a carport on a lot that is totaling at 9,138 square feet. So the proposed project is for the 1,026 square feet prefabrication unit, which includes 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, a 625 square foot carport, which includes 2 covered spaces. And then adjacent to that is 2 off-street uncovered parking spaces and a 10-foot driveway. There'll be landscaping improvements as the lot is vacant. And this proposal does meet our code standards for density, height, and landscaping. And once again, the temporary use permit would be required for the storage of the modular unit on site during construction. This is a picture of the existing conditions on 10th Street. So there will be additional improvements to the sidewalk area. The public, as you can see, the public right-of-way is right there on the curve cut. So there will be improvements to the sidewalk, the current curve cut for the proposed driveway, and the landscaping of the public right-of-way. This is the site plan. So here at the very far right-hand side is 10th Street. And then there, about a little over 15 feet from the sidewalk is the modular unit. And continuing on to the left is the carport with the 2 spaces. And then next to it is the uncovered parking spaces. And then from there, you get to the rear yard. And if you keep moving to the right, this structure here along the edges is the existing fence that's currently on the property line today. So the proposed residence has setbacks for the front modular unit of 15 feet, and then on the sides, it is 5 feet to the from the proposed property line and fence to the modular unit. And then between the carport and the modular unit, there's 10 feet, and then from the proposed driveway to the modular unit, it is 12 feet. And then the rear setback from the property line and fence to the carport is 40 feet and 53 inches. So the project site coverage is approximately 18.6%. And the landscaping, the proposed landscaping coverage will be approximately 25% for the front and rear yard. So here is the floor plan with the 3 bedrooms and the 2 baths. There's also a kitchen and a dining room and a living room space in the middle. Here is the landscaping plan. There, as you can see in the front yard, there will be trees put in on the public right-of-way and sidewalk, as well as what I believe to be grass. And then moving, there will be more trees planted along with mulch around the unit and in the backyard. Here are some elevations for the residents. So this is what the prefabricated modular unit will look like. And then this is the elevations for the carport. A couple things for the Planning Commission to consider is that, so the temporary use permit will be for the storage of the modular unit on site before the issuance of building permits for construction. Our zoning code does allow the Planning Commission to approve, conditionally approve, or deny the temporary use permit on findings and guarantees that apply to temporary use permits. Also, temporary use permits are only for a specified length of time. So for this, it would be the period between the issuance of building permits for construction and the storage of the modular unit on site. Also, another thing to consider would potentially be the extension of a temporary use permit if this project is impacted by the building moratorium. The city attorney said at a city council meeting that the building moratorium would not apply to those who already have their permits issued or if their projects do not impact our sewer. And as Paul Mugen, the director, said earlier, they have to have their building permit before the moratorium goes into place. This project does not have any features that will significantly impact the environment. Therefore, it is given a Class 3 category exemption from Section 15303 for our CEQA. I am also willing and open and available to take questions. And it is staff's recommendation to approve the temporary use permit and design review for the storage and installation of the single-family modular unit and carport.
The conclusion of your report?
Yes.
Okay, I will, does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Is this under the moratorium that we have here in the city? Or, for building permits?
It would be dependent upon when the submittals from the applicant are given to staff and then staff time in processing those to the issuance of building permits. So it just depends on how quickly everything moves through the process.
And they're gonna redo the fence in the back, put a whole new fence in?
No, the fence is existing and will stay.
And that needs it. Okay.
So the moratorium, if it actually comes to be, it's not gonna be till September, correct?
Yes.
So we'd be able to issue them a permit. correct?
A building permit?
Yes.
Yes, if everything comes, as Paul Mugan said,
Before-
before the reading and 30 days after, yeah.
So do you have any idea when, if the moratorium's supposed to take place? What date?
I do not know the specified date of that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and this particular building that the residence, is it, coming like in two big sections or it's coming in walls? Cause I've seen like, the modular homes where they come like, we used to call them trailers, right? Now they're mobile homes. But they come like in two big sections. Now, is this gonna be walls and then they're gonna be put together? Do you know?
I believe this question would best go to the applicant.
Here comes an individual. Maybe he can answer it.
Hello, Commission.
Evening.
Thank you for having us. My name is Nicholas Butler. I'm the applicant on this. And yes, they come in two sections.
Just two sections.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
This will be on permanent foundation, yeah? Okay, cool.
And I'm sorry, what material is this?
I don't do these often. The siding will be wood siding.
Okay, it looks metal from this picture. I was just trying to clarify. So it's wood siding?
Can you see a picture of what it looks like now?
Are you able to see?
Okay. Anything into the back, fence, the back fencing?
Looks like it's propped up.
Huh?
Looks like it's propped up.
Looks like they need to put a new fence in.
Yeah.
So this first fence here will actually be removed. So it is kind of in the middle of the property, this first existing fence. It goes further back. So where you see what looks to be those RVs or pop-ups, that's also part of the lot.
Got it, okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, thank you. For any questions for staff?
Yeah. Now this, realizing it's a modular home. Do they still have to have solar panels on that?
I have not seen anything in our code that requires solar panels for modular homes.
I was under the impression that anything that's built nowadays has to have solar panels.
Stick built maybe? No, stick built maybe? I don't know.
I know that there are lighting and other electrical improvements that come with requirements to our code, but I do not currently know if there's
No, but
anything from the state.
I could be
requiring
wrong.
that.
Been wrong once. I'm wrong about that. But I thought we had covered that a long time ago, for any new building has to have solar
Any new
panels on it.
construction, but I'm not sure if that was multifamily construction or commercial. I don't.
No, I
don't
thought it
know.
was any type of residential. No? She'll find out for us. Sorry, Sudi, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I'll look into this.
So the use permit is not for the property itself, is for the,
Yes, the use permit is for the storage only.
Modular homes are typically regulated by the state, so if there's a requirement for it, it will be enforced, and it does go through a building plan check process, but it is likely that because of the state regulation, it might fall under an exemption, but rest assured that if it is required, it will be enforced.
Grazie.
Okay, so if there's no more questions of staff, I'm going to open the public hearing. If the applicant would like to approach, yeah, sure.
Thank you again for your time. So for the use permit, our request for that is this is the property owner. He's not a developer. The house is for him and his family. And he had he purchased the property and purchased the modular home and has been paying for storage while we've been getting this design review together. So he purchased it first and then got in contact with me. So it's adding up a bill for him, which is why we would request you to consider him temporarily allowing it to be stored on site while we go through the permitting process. And as far as that goes, we already have a geotechnical report ready. All we would need is a structural engineering for a foundation. And the carport could be, like a prefabricated one, or we could just design a simple. I think so. We should be able to go very quickly. As far as the building moratorium goes, I may have some questions to follow up with about that. That's not something but I don't want to do this in the improper order or anything, so I'll reach out to you, Monty, afterwards. So, okay.
Okay, any other public comments?
Hi, my name is Misael Sanchez.
Can you speak Spanish? Yeah, for sure.
Pues sí estábamos, si nos aprobaban el proyecto, a ver si nos daban permiso de moverla, porque ya tiene casi 2 años y estoy pagando un storage donde mes por mes y ya llevo cerca de $20,000 pagados. Desgraciadamente cometimos el error de comprarla antes de averiguar todo el sistema, cómo los planos, cómo corrían y lo que es, prácticamente cometimos el error de hacer la compra antes de correr los planos. Y pues...
Inglés.
This is the property owner, and he just wanted to share that looking back at it, he should have secured these entitlements before purchasing the home, since he has to now pay to store it. So he spent upwards of $20,000 now storing it offsite. So this temporary use permit would help buffer that. And obviously, if he can store it on his own parcel, that would be a lot of help.
Sí, es eso y pues en lo que corrían los permisos, si nos aprobaban el proyecto, pues que nos dieran permiso de moverla al terreno. Eso no se puede habitar hasta que no se unan porque viene en 2 secciones.
So he appreciates your consideration, so he can store both of the pieces on site. And of course, he'll wait for his building permit until they join the 2 pieces and begin living on the unit.
Señor Sánchez. Señor Sánchez. Sí. ¿Usted es originalmente de aquí de Greenfield?
Está viviendo en Soledad.
Oh, okay.
He's living in Soledad.
Where is it being stored at currently?
En Los Ángeles.
It's currently in Los Angeles.
I'm sorry?
Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Gracias. So no more public comments. Anything online? All right, we'll close the public hearing and move on to planning commission discussion.
If there's no discussion, I move to approve. I move that the planning commission of the city of Greenfield adopt resolution number 2025-07, granting design review and temporary use permit approval of 1,026 square feet, single family module dwelling with a 625 square feet carport at 10th Street and Primavera Circle, subject to conditions of approval, including in the resolution.
I second it.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, we can now move on to other business. A building moratorium update.
Building moratorium before we know our questions about, well, what does that mean in terms of when is it take them? And right now we are in between the second reading. The second reading is scheduled for August 12th. It takes 30 days after its meeting if it is approved. So 30 days after August 12th, an applicant in their possession a building permit. And that would be its issue. We can approve a building permit, but not issue it because fees haven't been paid, and fees, permit fees. In a case such as, and God forbid we have some, would be surprised if that happened, but we will be very loud about with everybody that we're working with in the department to make sure that their architects and engineers are building, because there's plenty of time. Get them done, but at the same time, there's no ways, ways. And generally speaking, the building permits are ministerial, meaning simply that once they have meets the criteria of building it, which is they are required by law to the permit. During that process, usually the applicant will submit their application. The city usually has issue. The applicant resubmits their building permit. That would be a pass back. Most projects do pass backs, but not all. And many of the applicants, their building plans with their, they're already ready to go. For example, this applicant that was just here may be prepared to submit their building plans tomorrow. We don't know if they've been working. What they do. So if you receive questions out there among your constituents, the important thing to know is they must have issued building. And are open to anybody with questions or briefings.
Okay, thank you for that. So are we out of a job in a couple months or what?
Thanks.
No, in fact.
It will be this thick. It will be this thick.
Yeah. You're not thinking, what are these guys doing all this? Well, I expect them to work to be done on the general plan. Go in enforcement. We see it, and I think I speak for staff to say, we're gonna use this as an opportunity to probably yeah. And that would maybe better.
Okay, thank you. So we'll open public comment. I don't see any hands raised and I see an empty chamber. Closing public comment and commission discussion. Any questions?
How long is it gonna be in effect for? You know?
Don't know.
Any movement on the,
Sewage plants.
yeah, any good news on that front as far as the wastewater? Did we find $100 million or?
That's what it depends, Commissioner Mendoza.
No, I mean,
It's bad to speculate. I mean, it's a severe action. I mean, it's a like severe. And stop this and
it's kind of ironic that the moratorium is gonna be put in place for the same reason that Soledad did theirs. Exact same thing, sewage plant. And if anyone even dreams that our problem's gonna go away in 6 months, they need to wake up and slap themselves, because that's not gonna happen until we get that taken care of over there. And it's like Stephanie just said, we gotta go and find a lot of money somewhere. And it's not just picking up aluminum cans, it's gonna take a lot more than that.
yeah. And the key is that we're ready to go when it's over.
I mean, what's gonna exacerbate the situation from my perspective is like when Walnut Grove, when they come online, and then the one down there, I forget what that one's called, but the one over by your house, when they come online, I mean, there's gonna be a lot more sewage. And, I mean, right now they said we're what, like a 95% capacity, something like in that area? We're gonna exceed 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Water, toilets. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we can move on to J, comments from Planning Commission and staff. Does staff have any comments? Seeing none, Commission? All right, with that, we'll adjourn.
Wait, I got something else, sir. At the previous meeting that we had, I requested that we get an update on the Yankee Museum. Did that happen? Okay, so I'm making another request for the Yankee Museum, and also that business that was supposed to, it's on 229 El Camino. Remember that sports bar?
Tap house.
I don't know what it's called. I mean, if we could get an update on that, that's been sitting there for quite a while.
And said they had a thing on the same danger, so I don't know what the heck's going on with it.
Okay, if nothing else, meeting adjourned 7:53.
Oh, if you could make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Motion to, okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:03.
I second it.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
$20,000 in storage